is the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Celebrity Afterlife Report for the week of June 2nd, 2014. I am the Celebrity Medium, and I hope our listeners in the United States had an enjoyable Memorial Day weekend. Since we took last week off for the holiday, we have a lot of gossip from the next world to tell you about, so let's not waste any time getting right to it. For the past several weeks, we've been following the story of one of the oddest couples in the afterlife, singer Whitney Houston and former President Abraham Lincoln. As unlikely as their affair may seem, until recently, things seem to be going quite well between them. Now, however, a crack has formed in the relationship, and oddly enough, it has to do with the Memorial Day holiday that just passed. According to my sources, a while back, some deceased veterans decided to put together a parade to honor their comrades. Every year, a different person is chosen to be the parade marshal. This year's selection was Honest Abe. Now, it turns out Ms. Houston was planning on riding the parade float with her boo. Abe had to explain to her that the parade was for veterans and that he had been invited as a former commander-in-chief. Whitney wasn't invited. She had already dressed up for the parade and did not take the news that she wouldn't be in it well, and had what was described to me as a major hissy fit. I'm told it took Abe a while to get her to calm down and accept the situation. My reports say that he looked embarrassed that they had this tiff in public. I can't help but wonder if Mr. Lincoln had a flashback to his time with his Earthly Plane wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, who was almost certainly bipolar and something of a handful herself. Shock jock Babe Ruth? Well, that's what I'm hearing from my Next World sources. Like everyone else in the afterlife, the Babe looks like he did in the prime of his life on the earthly plane, so he certainly could still play Major League Ball, but it seems he's set his eye on a different occupation these days. According to my spies in the next world, the Sultan of Swat is now the Sultan of Smut, as the leader of the popular morning drive radio show on Heaven 107. From what I've been told, the Bambino's antics make Howard Stern seem tame by comparison. Now, there is no afterlife equivalent of the FCC, so Babe is free to discuss any topic and use any language he wants, and apparently he's taking full advantage of the privilege. Some of what I've been told about his show is very shocking, but since this is a family-friendly podcast, I will have to refrain from going into details. Suffice it to say that the show, called Babe and His Bullpen, is not for the easily offended. Pregnancy and STDs may not be concerns in the afterlife, but that doesn't mean that residents there aren't interested in information about sex. Recently, the Next World Times, the most popular newspaper in the afterlife, has been running Sexually Speaking, a column about everyone's favorite activity. The column deals with carnal matters in a very frank manner, according to my sources who tell me that tongues are wagging about it. More conservative residents of the afterlife have been bombarding the paper with letters to the editor complaining about Sexually Speaking, and a lot of them have been speculating about the author of the column, who is credited as EK. One of my Next World contacts has been doing a little sleuthing, and he tells me he knows who the mysterious EK is. As odd as this may seem, it appears that EK is none other than Emmett Kelly. Mr. Kelly was famous on the earthly plane for decades as the sad clown who made millions laugh in the circus. Even if you're not familiar with his name, you've almost certainly seen his face, as it appeared on everything from circus posters to velvet paintings. When he transitioned to the afterlife, Mr. Kelly's act was taken over by his son, Emmett Jr. My source has been trying to contact Mr. Kelly Sr. to find out what caused him to go from making children of all ages laugh to teaching adults how to make the most of their libido, but he has been unsuccessful so far in his attempt. I've asked him to keep trying because this sounds like a very interesting story. Elvis Presley is the undisputed king of rock and roll, but as I told you in the Celebrity Afterlife Report several weeks ago, he's sick and tired of being mobbed by fans everywhere he goes in the next world. In an attempt to have something resembling a private life free from autograph seekers, Elvis has shaved all his hair off to disguise himself. Even that extreme step, however, is not enough to deter his rabid fans. I'm told that someone recognized the newly bald Elvis on the street recently and snapped a picture of him. Copies of that picture have now been posted to bulletin boards and put on lampposts all over the afterlife. Elvis is reported to be very upset by this intrusion, and the king has been hiding out in various friends' homes for the past month in order to stay out of public view. Just before I recorded this edition of the Celebrity Afterlife Report, I got word that Ann B. Davis, best known for playing Alice on the Brady Bunch, just transitioned to the next world. My source, who was present when she arrived, tells me that among the people waiting to greet her was Robert Reed, who played Mr. Brady on the beloved sitcom. The source asked Ms. Davis if she planned on doing any acting now that she is in the afterlife. She laughed and said, "I'm ready as I'll ever be. All I need is an agent." Okay, that's it for the Celebrity Afterlife Report for now. Please be sure to come back next week for more gossip about all your favorite deceased celebs. I am the Celebrity Medium. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to the Celebrity Afterlife Report podcast. To ask a question about your favorite deceased celebrity, call 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-3-MY-DREAM. 818-369-3732.